Hey everyone, JJ here with another babble for you. This one, I'm gonna try to make it as quick as possible, but this is about probably the most influential drummer. Basically, the reason I started playing drums was my first exposure to this particular band and this particular drummer. And the band is Metallica and the drummer is Lars Ulrich. I know a lot of people don't think Lars is a very good drummer. I'm not trying to change your opinion on that. Feel free to think what you think. I think what I think for certain, and my opinion might be different, but that's okay. I'll give you a story. The influence and the age that I saw and was exposed to that band. It was an incredible time. It was probably 1988 or 1989. I'm not sure. I have two older half brothers, and they were both Metallica fans. So I'd heard a little bit of their music here and there, but it wasn't really on my radar at all. I didn't have any CDs or anything, so I just listened to the radio. Metallica wasn't on the radio at that point. So yeah, this is 88 or 89. But anyways, it's the first exposure I get to this band, and the first inkling I ever had where I thought I might want to be a drummer was, luckily my family had cable TV, and in Canada we had was Much Music, which is basically MTV, same idea, music videos. And my brother and I were sitting watching that one day, and the Metallica video came on. For One, the song One. And I didn't know what it was. Knew vaguely of the band. My brother was excited because it was one of his favorite bands. So we sat and watched it, and I proceeded to be blown away, to say the least. The video, the way that it showcased the band, I mean, that era of Metallica is them at the heights of their power. They're playing, the songs, it just, there's no touching that band at that time. So to be exposed to them for the first time at that juncture, it's amazing timing. I know I'm not the only one that cites Metallica at that point, and Lars at that point as an influence. I think it's pretty widespread that the Injustice for All record and his playing in and around that time impressed a lot of people, myself included. So yeah, we proceeded to sit down and watch the video. It gets to the middle section, the famous double bass part, and just the fact that you could see what he was doing with his feet was, I'd never really seen any drumming videos except for the odd music video. We didn't have a lot of concert movies and obviously no internet to reference at that point, so you kind of got what you got when it came to watching bands. And to seeing that drumming, and in that detail and stuff like that was just, I didn't realize you could do that with your feet, to play like that, to be that animated, the huge drum set dwarfing him. These are the, Tama Grand stars. I'm still playing the drums because of that music video. I don't swap these out for that reason. They're my favorite drums. So to say his influence, or that moment had a huge impact on me is an understatement, to say the least. So yeah, we finish up sitting watching the video, and then I'm starting to make a realization that maybe drums are good. They're cool. And I've dabbled with other instruments, but I've never ever had that same moment with anything else except drums. There was an instant connection. For me as a player, I've struggled, but drums came fairly natural to me. And learning things and concepts, even just listening by ear, I've always been pretty good at being able to do that. Sometimes I don't play things perfectly, but the idea is there, and I think the spirit is there. So, but that all stems back to that moment. From that point on, I was probably 8 years old, and I didn't get a drum set for quite a while after that. So, I essentially air drummed along to videos, and after that you've got the Black album, And 1991 and the release of that Black album had happened in, the summer when I was away from school on vacation. I had saved up birthday money or whatever it was in anticipation of the Black album getting released, and I got that album the first day that it was out as well. And you know, the songs on that record, the playing from Lars was obviously a big departure from what was on And Justice for All and the previous records. But the songs, the impact that they had, and just how gigantic the band became at that time. You couldn't get away from Metallica. Like, they were just everywhere, at every radio station and everywhere you turned. And that tour, and the Black Album tour, and just them just taking over. It's, call them what you want, but it's just I wasn't alive really during Led Zeppelin's heyday, but it's just the comparative to say that they're the Led Zeppelin for modern generation. I don't think it's far off. And so the great thing with Lars, and say what you want about his drumming, it's it's been good at times, it's been not so good at times, and I love the guy either way. He's always been my favorite drummer and my first and main influence. That won't change, regardless of how poorly he's playing. But you know what I mean. He's hit or miss with a lot of people. But the thing I took away from him, and I think we owe, as drummers, I think we owe a debt of gratitude to him, is that, to me, he displayed, what a drummer can be in a band. To me, it's you've got your, the stereotype of Ringo Starr, how he's, he's relegated to the sideman position and never, on equal footing as, George or John or Paul. He's this, he's influential as well, but he never wrote any of the songs that I know of anyways, didn't participate in that, he was just there. And Lars, to me, was the first drummer I saw where his integration into the band and how much he actually did for the band made him an irreplaceable member of the band. And it showed me that there was other roles in music that a drummer can do, even if you're not the main songwriter. Arrangement, just composition, drummers, I think, always have a really good feel for if sections drag on too long, or if maybe this part doesn't work next to this part, stuff like that. For me, that's always been what I felt I had a fairly good ear for. Couldn't write my own song if I sat and tried, but collaborating with someone who is a songwriter was always something. I took a lot of influence from Lars in that capacity, where it's just we can work together and make this thing. And not that I ever achieved anything akin to him, but the idea was there anyway. So, but yeah, regardless of what you think of his playing, I don't have to tell you what songs to check out. Lars is as famous as it gets when it comes to drummers, and you likely already know the material to check out. But I think he's owed more respect than what he gets. And some people don't like his attitude. Some people don't like other things about him. And but as far as his musical senses and his contribution to Metallica and music in general, I think he's definitely up there amongst the all-time greats. And look at the Napster thing, and we talk about music sharing and all that stuff. And he got a bad rap for that. At the end of the day, I think his heart was in the right place. And there's a lot of people that think he was right about that stuff, and who's to say? Could have been a different time if music sharing had never come into place, and who knows what it would have been. But yeah, his influence is far, far reaching, just besides playing drums. And I think that's what essentially makes him an irreplaceable member of Metallica. And for me, he's the biggest influence I've had in music and in drumming, and likely to remain so. And I'm glad to see that Metallica is still continuing on. They've gotten past whatever issues they were having and managed to keep it together. You know, there's been times where Metallica, it's like, you know, they weren't at the top of their game, and it's like, but this is 2024, I'm making this video, so the last runs of shows I've seen, it's, you know, they're sounding great. It's not their heyday, but they're sounding better than they have in quite a long time. And I'll be glad to see that band continue on for as long as they choose to do so and can physically do it. So if you don't know of them, check out Metallica. You won't be disappointed. But if you're not, you know, into more progressive drumming, you can check out Ride the Lightning's my personal favorite. You know, the songs on there are just like, the jump from Kill 'Em All to Ride the Lightning is, I don't know how you make a jump like that in less than a year's time. From songwriting and performing and all that stuff. I mean, just practice, 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 I'm gonna guess. But Ride the Lightning just has like Creeping Death and From the Bell Tolls, my favorite Metallica song. Ride the Lightning, I mean, my other favorite Metallica song, but you know, everybody knows Master Puppets at this point, and you know that album is one of the great metal masterpieces of all time. There's no doubt about that. So by all means, check out those records. But if you're anything like me, and Justice for All is the starting place. If you like heavy metal, if you're into heavy metal drumming, and Justice for All, myself and thousands of other drummers, we all got our taste of heavy metal from that, and that was our starting point. And a lot of guys have, you know, blown past that technique-wise and, you know, musicality and stuff. But there's a lot of the roots of modern heavy metal drumming kind of come from that record. So check it out. I think you'll like it. Cheers.